Again, this is accessed through DARE Online and under the Bovis icon. So we want to benchmark data to see how we're performing, and within it we go into benchmark my data. So there's a range of ways we can benchmark the data. We can select the certain dates we want to start from. We can select the animal types. We can do all animal types, or we can just select one category. So the summary data clearly shows the different animal types. So in this particular herd, it shows the number of cows, heifers, steers, young bulls were slaughtered. In the time period, there's a total of 60 animals slaughtered, and we want to particularly focus on young bulls in this case. So in this scenario, there were 24 young bulls slaughtered in the period from 1st of October 16 to the 30th of September 17. And if we scroll down the page, we can see how the summary of the performance. Or we can look at the different categories. We can look at confirmation, and in this case we can see a lot of bulls killed in the U class. We can look at the fat class, and in this example we can see a proportion of animals fallen below the desirable fat class. In terms of weight, we can see how the animals performed in terms of weight, or we can look at carcass gain. We can also look at animal data, and that gives us all the individual animal data. Within the animal data, that gives us both the kill date, the age of slaughter, the weight, carcass weight, the confirmation and fat class, and the daily carcass gain. We can also view the dam, and this is very important if we want to benchmark how certain cows are performing. For example, the first cow in this herd, in this, if we select this, we can see this cow has produced 4 calves that have been slaughtered, and if we click on the icon, it lists the 4 animals, 4 progeny from this cow, and we can see how they have killed. We can see how they grew, whether they were bulls, steers or heifers, and the confirmation and fat class and daily carcass gain from them. So it enables us to identify cows that are performing very well. We can export it to an Excel spreadsheet, and that gives us the ability to then do further input to the data, or add other data to it. For example, feed information or economics. We can then do further benchmarking within the data. Within that, we can look at the different breed types. For example, in this herd, you can see a range of different breed types being present, and we can benchmark that, so we can see the different numbers. So in this case, we can see the majority of the animals were pure continental, with a few native and native cross continental cattle coming in there. But it gives you the summary of the performance within the herd. If we want to further benchmark, we can just look at a category of this. So in this case, we're going to look at the Belgian Blues. So there were 17 Belgian Blue bulls slaughtered in the time period, and we want to see how they performed. So this just gives us the Belgian Blues. So it gives in the herd there were 17, and it gives you their performance. we can compare that to the top 10% of producers, and we can see how this herd compares to other herds. Or we can look at all producers, and that gives all producers in that time period throughout Northern Ireland. So we can see that there were 747 animals of a similar type, and they had a relatively similar conformation and fat class. Another aspect is we can look at benchmarking across different time periods. So if you want to look at 1 year versus another year, you can do that in this process. So in this example, we're going to look at 2 years from 2013 to 2015 and compare that to the later period. So we can see from 2013 to 2015 there was 11 animals from this herd slaughtered of a similar type, and we can see differences there in terms of how they performed. In addition to that, again we can look at breed, and we can compare one breed to another. So today we're going to compare the Belgian Blues with the Limousines for this specific herd. Now we can see 17 Belgian Blues. There were 5 Limousines slaughtered in the same time period, and we can see the performance of those Limousines in that period. So it gives you more flexibility to look at within the herd how your animals are performing.